Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Madeline. I'm an artist and I live in London. So in today's video, I want to take you along with me while I visit 3 different exhibitions in London. I will be starting out at Tate Modern. I'll be looking at the Mike Kelley retrospective exhibition. Then I'm going to head to West London to go to the Design Museum. I've never been there before, but I'm really excited to see the Barbie exhibition. It's kind of right up my alley since I paint a lot of dolls and mannequins, so I'm excited to see that. Then after that, I'll be going to Southbank Center to see an exhibition of work by prisoners, which will be really interesting, I think. So it's basically this organization that invites imprisoned people to create work, and then they have a board of curators come and select work to be in the exhibition. And I'm really excited for it. So it's 3 different exhibitions in 3 very different areas of London. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of a mini critique and voiceover as we go through each show. And yeah, I think it's super important as an artist to go and to see work. So I try to make time at least a few times a month to go out and just see other people's artwork. And I find it really inspiring. So we'll do the tours, we'll come back here, I'll give you my final thoughts, but we should get going now and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. So I decided to take the scenic route because I absolutely love this bridge. It's called Millennium Bridge and it connects North and South London over the River Thames. Across the bridge with that big chimney looking thing is the Tate Modern. But as you can see, there's so many amazing views from this bridge. It's my favorite bridge because it's only pedestrians. I feel like I've been walking across this bridge for the past 10 years. I've gone on many moody evening walks across this bridge. It just has really nice views and it's really nice when it's lit up at night. The other side connects to St. Paul's. As you can see, it is a big church. I think it was built in like the 1600s, but it's a cool mix of like modern and traditional architecture, which is one of the best things about London. So normally the Tate Modern is completely free to visit it, but this particular exhibition is a ticketed exhibition, so I did have to pay, but if I was just seeing the regular collection of the Tate, it would be completely free. Just to give you a bit of context, Mike Kelley is an American conceptual artist. He was active beginning in the 1970s, and he studied at Cal Arts, which is an art school in California, which is known for a lot of experimentation. So the first room in the exhibition focused on the work that he made when he was a student. I loved how he focused a lot on ritual, myths, and belief systems in his work, and he used a lot of found objects and everyday materials. I actually really like conceptual art, even though I'm a painter. I love how it focuses mostly on the ideas behind things and the theories as opposed to the physical objects. He was also interested in exploring the idea of craft and the sort of hierarchy of art. So he would take materials like felt, things that traditionally weren't seen in galleries, and make artworks out of them and do it in a very humorous, subversive way. He was super interested in exploring the notions of childhood and adolescence, specifically through stuffed toys, stuffed animals, and exploring all of the labor that went into creating those things. This is one of his most well-known artworks. It consists of lots of different toys sewn onto a canvas, and I really love the detail in this work. You can tell there's so many hours of labor that went into creating this. One of my favorite things about Mike Kelley's art is how diverse it is. He's influenced by so many different things, including pop culture and popular figures in pop culture like Superman. So this body of work began in the 1990s. These are called Kandors. If you follow comic books and Superman, I don't, but apparently Kandor is the capital city of Superman's home planet, and it was destroyed. So basically the city was shrunk down to a miniature size and preserved under a glass jar. And it's never been able to be restored to its original size in the comic. So with this work, Mike Kelley is exploring the relationship between architecture and memory. I also feel the need to mention how loud this exhibition was. There was so much noise from all the different videos and contraptions and so much flashing. It was like a sensory overload. I will say it was too overloaded in my opinion. I almost wonder if they could have like left some things out, but it is what it is. He just had a lot of work. I didn't catch the name of this particular work, but it was definitely my favorite in the whole exhibition. I love the silhouette and the way that the curtain moved over it. A lot of the work in this room involved Mike Kelley looking at old high school yearbooks and then recreating those pictures. And this was a project he worked on for about 20 years, I think. It's interesting to me because Mike Kelley is from Detroit and I'm from Milwaukee, so we're both Midwesterners, and I kind of identified this like Midwestern aesthetic in his work, or just this sort of cultural reference to the Midwest, because he was looking at high school yearbooks and also this like very American high school experience and recreating it with videos and with these staged photos. It just feels really familiar to me, and I thought it's funny how as artists we'll always express some part of our like aesthetic upbringing in the work that we make. And at the very end of the show, they had these sketches and notes from Mike Kelley, and I love these. I love seeing the inner workings of an artist's mind, and I'm really glad they included these. So now I'm making my way west to go see the Barbie exhibition. West London is different. I love West London, but it's too bougie for me. I live in South London, so I'm not used to all these luxury stores and clean streets. But it is nice. It does feel very stereotypically British, and they have really nice architecture. While I'm on the bus, I'm just thinking about the show I just saw at Tate and really appreciating the work of Mike Kelley. Honestly, he is one of my favorite artists, and it's one of the first times I've been able to see his work in person. He's known for doing a series of work on mannequins, so that's why I do like his work a lot. His work is very cerebral and conceptual and difficult to pin down. And I find that really inspiring. As artists, we don't necessarily need to be one thing. We can explore all different sides of ourselves. So let me quit yapping. We are now at the Barbie exhibition, and I have to say I was so obsessed with the design of this exhibition. It was so pink and bright and colorful. It just felt like you were in a very well thought out space, and I loved the curation of the exhibition. I had a couple Barbie dolls when I was growing up, and collecting the different dolls was really interesting as a kid. I didn't have a lot of them, but the ones I did have I remember quite fondly. And I remember just like dressing them up and putting them in different outfits, and I feel like it was a good way to experiment with your imagination. So with the exhibition, they went through the history of the Barbie doll. They showed different commercials from the 1950s and 60s. They even had one of the original prototypes, which was really cool. It used to be $3, which is crazy. And this was one of my favorite rooms in the show. So it was basically this big lineup of different Barbie dolls over the years. And I love seeing how all the different fashions would change. Like the 1990s Barbie dolls were so obviously 90s. There were Barbie dolls from the 2010s, from the 80s, from the 70s. So I feel like they're a great reflection of women's fashion and how it has changed over the years. It's almost like a little time capsule. And I'm still so obsessed with the exhibition design. I mean, just look at that. It's so well done and so just thoughtfully curated. I really love this room. So this room talked about the manufacturing process, and it talked about the different hairstyles that Barbie has had over the years. It talked about how the dolls were created in factories. It gave an insight into the sort of inner workings of the doll. It was kind of creepy to see them detached from their bodies and without eyes, but I loved seeing the different stages of the manufacturing process and how they made the hair. They also had a lot of examples of Barbie's houses over the years, and it was cool to see how the styles of the houses changed with the times. Another one of my favorite parts of this exhibition was a section where they had these capsules that showed Barbie's different careers. So there was one that showed all the different presidential Barbies over the years, Barbies that were homemakers and chefs and designers and writers. So it was really cool to see how they used Barbie to tell young girls that you can be whatever you want in life. And in this last room of the exhibition, it explored how Barbie is a cultural icon. So it had posters and a few outfits from the Barbie movie, some fashion collaborations with brands like Balmain and Oscar de la Renta. And yeah, it was cool to see the Barbie costumes from the movie and the different magazine covers that Barbie has apparently been on the cover of. It was cool to think about the importance and the cultural significance of Barbie and how it has connected to so many women and so many girls over the years. I thoroughly enjoyed that exhibition. Highly recommend it to anyone who's in London. I learned a lot and I got really inspired by it. So here I am on my way to Southbank Center. I caught this amazing sunset over the River Thames. It was so beautiful. I really didn't know what to expect with this exhibition of prisoners' art, but I was really blown away by it. I was really surprised by the quality of a lot of the work, not because I thought they couldn't do it, more so because I thought, where did they get the materials? Because I don't think they provide paint and brushes in prison, but apparently they do. As you can see, a lot of the work is work on paper, drawings, paintings, but there were also quite a few sculptures and even an installation, which I thought was super ambitious. There was one piece where the prisoner made an installation out of like matchsticks that he bought from the prison canteen. So that was really interesting. And I enjoyed the use of materials from prison to make the objects in the work. And some of the work had a lot of direct relationship to prison and talking about like the criminal justice system and what it's like to be in prison. But some of the work was just completely unrelated to prison. There were some landscape paintings, some poems, some music, portraits of celebrities, some abstract work. So it was interesting to get a look into the psyche of each person. I will say it would have been nice to have the name of the person next to the work, but I guess for privacy and security reasons, they could only say the specific prison that they were located at. So that's one little critique, but I guess they had no choice with that. I just felt a sense of pride for the people in the show that they could have a chance to show their work, to connect to the public through the work, and to have a way to occupy themselves and hopefully heal themselves through art while being in prison. Hello again. Well, that was quite the marathon. That was a very long day. Each show was so different and I really appreciated that. I found each one so inspiring but in different ways. The Mike Kelley one, I just loved seeing how experimental he was and how kind of crazy he was, low-key. And that made me think, maybe I should be a little bit more bold and expressive and experimental in my own work. And I found that really inspiring. And just like the amount of work, he was a very prolific artist who made work all the way up until his death. So that was inspiring. Very bizarre, but in a good way, I'll say. And I really enjoyed the Barbie exhibition. If I had to choose one that was probably my favorite, and I didn't expect that one to be my favorite because it's not really like a fine art exhibition. It's more so about like design and culture. But I still found it super interesting because they kind of traced the history of the Barbie doll and brought it into context in terms of media, art, fashion, feminism. It was just a really interesting show and I love the way they designed it and I'm really happy I went there. Honestly, if it weren't for this video, I probably would not have gone because it's kind of far away from where I live, but it was definitely worth the trip. And the exhibition of work by prisoners, that was interesting because the work, I mean, it wasn't like top-notch work. Like some of it was really good, but it wasn't like the best work I've ever seen. But what I found super inspiring about that show was the fact that these people had the will to make art. Like they're in prison, they're going through a lot, they're struggling, they still have the will and the urge to make things. And I was inspired to see how they used art as therapy and used art to process their experiences in prison. And it was a big range of people. It was like youth offenders or young people, but it was also adult prisoners and also people in mental health institutions. So it was anonymous, like they didn't attach their names to it, but still appreciated just seeing like their expression. And I felt like I was able to connect with these people that I'll probably never meet because they're behind bars. That really reminded me that art is a tool to connect to people and to see the world through their eyes. I felt like in seeing their work, I saw their experience and I saw the world through their eyes. So I really appreciated going to that show, but I'm really happy with everything that I saw. And I want to do another video like this where I go around London and do an exhibition review or give you a taste of what's happening, what's being shown in the city, because there's always so many amazing shows happening in London. That's one of the best things about living here. Thank you so much for joining me in this marathon, this exhibition marathon. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspires you to go out and see work on your own. I think if you're an artist, making work is really important, but I think what's equally, if not more important, honestly, is engaging with other people's work. I found it so inspiring. When I saw the Barbie show, I was thinking, okay, I should make some dollhouses, because they had dollhouses there, and I was like, oh, why don't I try that? So I don't think I would have thought about that if I hadn't seen the show. So go out in your city, in your town, see artwork. It doesn't have to be as grand as the Tate, but just anything that other people are making, just try to engage with it. And also, if you can't see it in person, try to see it online. A lot of galleries and museums, they put their collections on their websites and you can access it that way. So just soak things up. That's my advice. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.